Hello everyone and welcome to this special video. Today we will talk about formats. So there are three big categories of film formats. So first of all we have large format. Large format, like it says, it's large, right? So like this is I think this is pretty much the smallest large format film. It's 4 by 5 inches, right? So large format is measured in inches, at least in North America. It's sheet film, and usually we have one loading chassis like this, which contains two films, one on each side. So when you expose one side, right, so you put this in the camera, now you can make the picture. When the picture is done, you flip this on the other side and you make yourself a code, right? One side is white, the other side is dark, so you put this back and then you know this side is exposed, and now you can continue on the other side with something else. All right, so 4 by 5 inches, 8 by 10 is another big popular, well, probably less popular. 4 by 5 is probably the most popular one. In between you have 5 by 7, you have a different bunch of formats with special cameras like 8 by 20 for panoramic or group photo. You have 11 by 14, 1620, 2024. It's large, right? It's in inches. And this is, I don't know if you can see, but this is a sheet of film that was exposed, obviously. And we had to load this in complete darkness. And in the corner, you can see that little notch right here. So the film were code notched. So they were notched to identify in the dark which kind of film it was. And it was always on the top right side, so you knew the emulsion was facing you. And then you were able to load this into the holder in the proper orientation. All right, so that is large format. Much more easy is film roll, right? Which leads us to medium format. Medium format, the main medium still in use today is 120 film roll, which is 70 millimeter in width, 2 inch and a quarter. And the amount of picture that you can take in one roll, it depends on the camera, right? So like on this camera, we call this a 645 folder, but the format, see here, so it's 6 centimeters by 4.5 centimeters. You guessed it, medium format is measured in centimeters, right? So this is a 645, so 6 by 4.5 centimeters. And let's take another example, a different camera, same roll, same film roll you put in, but different size, see? So 6 by 9. So in a 6 by 4.5, you can put as twice as much as frames as this one, right? So there were a lot of different sizes you could do, like on a Hasselblad. So a Hasselblad is 6 by 6. It's a square format. So 6 by 6, you can put 12 frames per roll on a 120 roll. There used to be 220 rolls which had no paper backing, and you could do twice the amount of pictures with them. But they're pretty rare now. So 120 is still available, and it has a paper backing. So paper backing, this is why on the back of many medium format or roll frame cameras, you see a little red window like this, right? So the red window is for you to see the paper backing, right, to advance to the next frame. And when you're at the next frame, you can close that window and then you're ready for the next picture. After that picture is done, then you can just roll to the next exposure. Right? Of course, more modern or advanced film cameras, medium format, well, it was automatic. So you just take your shot, and then when it's done, you just, wing to the next, and you're ready. Bang, you're already there. All right, so this is medium format. There were other formats out there in roll films, 122, which is slightly bigger, 616, which is just a little bit bigger than if I compare with a 120. So this is a 120, this is a 616, right? So there are two differences here. The 616 is a bit taller, right? And the core is thinner because it's in a 600. Like here we have a 620. So the 620, you can roll the exact same film from a 120 into a 620. You can reload that and put that in a 620 camera. It's gonna work, right? So 120, 620, same height, different core diameter, right? 616 is taller than 620, right? So you have 116 that is this core, but this height. See where I'm going? In a bit smaller than medium format, we had 127, which is pretty cool. So 127, actually it's not the format that is cool, but the cameras that goes with them. They're so tiny and really weird. This is one of my favorites. It's a beacon, and it's all made of bakelite, kind of plastic. It's not great quality camera, but it's fun to use. It's even better than novelty. Same thing with 127. You can take different amount of picture depending on the camera, depending on the size of the frame, right? So this is, I think it's 3 by 4 centimeters, still in centimeters, right? Like for comparison, this Brownie Holiday Flash is 6 by 7, 8 something, or 4. I don't know. It's a bit bigger, right? And little information, see, the film plane is not flat. It's rounded, curved. I wonder how this works. Is this really optically sound? Not sure. It's curved on one side, but not the other. Anyways, picture quality with these kind of cameras were not that great, but really fun to use. The third main category of film format is 35mm and smaller. 35mm is still the same thing. You put that in the camera, and the vast majority of the camera image is 24 by 36mm. So 24 by 36. You have some rare cameras that it's going to be 24 by 24. Some others are half frame, so 24 by 18. And you have some panoramic cameras like Hasselblad X-Pan or Horizon that are 24 by something slightly larger, which is quite nice. And their viewfinder are really nice because you see already what it's going to be, in that aspect ratio. This was a 35mm cartridge back in the days. Oh my god, this is really nice, right? How cute is that? And it was color-coded, right? So we shrink down from this to this. What is this? This is 828 film. So of course, it's a roll film, but not within a canister, right? With a paper backing. It was the same height of 35mm film, but with no perforation, so the frame was a little bit bigger. It was nice shooting with that, but wasn't popular, right? After that, we had another attempt of making photography loading a bit better. This is an Agfa. So in Europe, they had Agfa Rapid film. So it was two cartridges like this, unified with film in between. I don't know if you saw that properly. So two cartridges with film in between. So now you just had to pop this in, and try not to unspool the film at the same time. All right, that's it, and you were done. So that's okay. But the Americans had it a bit better with the, where it is? Oh yeah, the 126 film. So 126 film was really similar, but it was a first of all, the size was slightly bigger than 35mm film, and it was square, and it was easy to load. Just pop it in like this, you know, no fiddling with the film in between two things. No, just a cartridge, really easy. This was in the 60s. Actually, this camera, I think it's probably the best 126 camera in the world. It was made by Kodak in Germany with a system of lenses, really nice. So if we go back to the ISO Rapid film, something really similar, SL cartridges, so same kind of loading, right? The same. Actually, the ISO Rapid film fits into these Velti camera, made in Germany, I think. And you see, this is a half frame on Agfa Rapid or SL film. All right, really fun to use, by the way. Really fun to use, as all the manual settings as you want. Now, if we shrink even a little bit more, what do we have? We had APS cameras. So APS was standing for Advanced Photographic System, APS. And this was the Nikon Pronea S, so same F mount with, you know, detachable lenses. You could use Nikon F mount lens on this, but this is IX Nikkor, which protrudes much more, and these lenses you cannot put onto a regular Nikon F system because it's going to be in the way of the mirror. You're going to damage your camera, but you can put any Nikon F lens into this. But you need the aperture. Anyway, so for loading film, it was really easy. This was actually, there were a few good ideas in this APS thing, right? So APS film was slightly smaller, and it was much easy to load and unload, and you could, so I don't know if you're gonna see this, but there are different status of the cartridge itself, right? So the cartridge could be new, partially exposed, fully exposed, and processed. So you could, in the way of making a film, you could remove it. Of course, I think you're gonna lose one frame, maybe not, I'm not sure, maybe depending on the camera. Anyway, so you can remove it and pop in a color film instead of, or black and white, as you want, and then, so you could play with your films. And then when it was processed, it's exactly the same way. You don't have any film, you know, protruding outside the canister, even when it's new. It's like this. So it was a different system, but it didn't pick up. It had a few advantages, but it was smaller, so a bit less quality. It didn't pick up. But the nice thing about it, it had three formats that you could pick, you know, a regular one, a bit taller, and panoramic photo. But when you selected the panoramic, it was my favorite, but it actually shrink the area of film exposed, so not great. So we shrink even a bit more, and we go to something that is half the size of 35mm, which is 17.5. This was popularized, or actually not really popular, but we've seen that in the 60s. I think they were Japanese made, exported pretty much everywhere, had different names. The one I have is a Mineta hit camera, and it's a roll film with paper backing, and you can load it like any roll film, right? So you need an empty spool, you put the full spool here, you put the empty spool on the other side, you put your paper backing attached to the other one, and then you start going, you know, loading like this, and then you close, and then you look at the tiny red window to advance to frame 1, and then you expose, and so on, right? But the quality, oh my god, that's not really great. And I put a fresh 16mm film in, so I re-spooled using an old Kiku film, Kiku film, original film. So I removed the film that was really old, and I replaced that with a fresh 16mm, and still the quality of this, oh my god, not really good. We shrink a little bit more, we go to 16mm, so we had Minolta 16, which was a kind of an attempt at making something smaller, and it had that James Bond feel, you know, oh, spy camera. It was okay, but speaking of the real thing, you know, there are the real James Bond camera, the Minox. Minox was, this is a really good camera. I'm gonna make another video talking just about this one, and it used microfilm, so 8mm. Right? So that's a better Minolta 16 actually. Closer to that 16mm, we had 110 film. So I talked to you about the easy loading cartridges. So this came in 72. Same easiness. So see how cameras were getting smaller even for families everywhere. So Kodak did an amazing job on making photography available to the masses. You know, obviously it made a too great of a job, but still, see, really easy loading, ready to shoot. Click. Oh my god, that was fun. Some of the first pictures I made with this Kodak. All right, talking about funny formats. I don't know if some of you remembers the Kodak disc. Kodak disc used, I think it was, 15 images on a disc. And the size, the image size was exactly the same as a 110 film roll. But loading was even easier, I don't know. So you just put your disc like this, and you're good to go, right? This was different medium, quite small as well. Didn't make it probably because the image quality wasn't that great. You could blow up maybe 8x10 at best. Yeah, at best. With 110 and disc. It was a bit too small, right? But for souvenirs, yeah, pretty good. I used to do a lot of large format film. And during one day, I could usually make 6 of these. So I brought with me 6 loaders with 2 images each. So I could do 12 images in my day. And that was a big day for large format. We took a lot of time to compose to make 1 image. Right? So, and on each of these, I had about a 50% of really good shots. Yeah. Because you took time to be sure everything was fine. These ones, so medium format, 12 image per roll. Same thing, I had about 1 pretty good image per roll. Now, after that, 35mm, you see where I'm going? 36 images. I had about 1 image that was really good on each roll, right? And today, we have SD cards, compact flash cards, you know, digital media. I can put like 500 images on that. I have about 1 that is really good, a few other that are great, you know, but not. So about one per day, yeah, that is really good. I'm happy. So meaning the more time you invest into making 1 image, and the more chance you will have that it's going to be good, right? So be patient and just go and take a lot of photos, you know. But this is amazing because, You know, Henri Cartier-Bresson said that your 10,000 first images are your worst. That is true, but that was back in the film days. Today, I would say that your first 50,000 images are your worst. But making 50,000 images today takes much less time than it used to make 10,000 images back in the days. So in a way, yes, it takes more images for a photographer to be good today, but it's going to take less time. So learning curve is accelerated in the digital era. This is amazing. So in the next video, we'll look at how to see the difference between perspective, between formats. So we're gonna do, of course, large format, medium format, 35 and smaller, but in the digital era as well. So full frame, crop sensor, 4/3. What are the equivalences? We'll see that in the next video. So until then, thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and may the photo be with you.